All right. Welcome into hour two, and we'll continue this. Anything else you guys want to add on the Jair talk? I think that was a fascinating question there, Jacob. And using the Rich Hill trade chart, someone had asked me on Twitter the other day, do you think we could climb back up to this pick, trading that pick? It's going to probably take Jair and a pick to climb up around is essentially what it's going to take, right? So I think that's a real thing. I think that's a great conversation. But anything else you guys want to mention on that before we get back to the edge defenders here?
No, I like what Tim said. I want more draft capital. I really do. I just think that it'd be a better overall investment.
I want Jair Alexander on the team, so that's where I'm at. But it looks more and more every day like that's not going to happen. I had false hope there for a while, Clayton. I really thought they were going to.
Hey man, I've been right there with you,
loading up talent around them. But
again, I want Jair. I want 80 overall Jair is what I'm wanting. You know what I mean? And a healthy version of him. The reality is it hasn't been there. So I can understand both sides. I'm with you, Tim. Yep. Like if you keep Jair and you draft somebody like Jahdae Barron in the first round and you couple those guys together, holy cow. But it does seem like both sides, according to Rob Demovsky, they've already made their decision. They're moving on. The question is, does a team risk them getting into a bidding war for him after the draft, or do they go ahead and give up a draft pick? And that's why I think it's on the table. Here's the thing. The conversations have all been had. The Packers have talked to people. We already know that about potentially trading him. So there's probably packages already put together where teams that are looking to draft a corner say, hey, look, if we don't, we really like a few guys here in the first and second round. If we don't get any of those guys, we'll trade you a third for him or a fourth for him, whatever it may be. Those packages are already in place. I just about guarantee it. So on draft night, when the Packers are on the clock, whether it be the third or the fourth round, they may get that call and go, hey, man, we didn't get our guy. We'd like to give you our fourth round pick for Ja. That could be the case. That's why when you're grouping picks together, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's less likely because that scenario that I just laid out is kind of out the window as if there was a specific approach to this exact pick here. So it's going to be interesting, though, man. It's going to make draft night even more enjoyable for sure. Drew D says post-June 1 cut, just spread the hit over an extra year. It's the same amount of money paid. There you go. So like I said, you can choose the guaranteed money is the guaranteed money. You could choose, do you want to free up more money now or later? And here's a big misconception. I think there's a lot of people that don't understand rollover cap. Like someone called into Packernet After Dark and was like, hey, why don't we eat a bunch of cap this year so we have more cap next year? If you don't use the cap, whether you eat it this year or not, you still roll it over, the cap space. The reality of the situation is how much of the guaranteed money do you want to pay so you can lower the cap number if you can get a player to take a restructure or a pay cut when it's, in all honesty, we've covered this a lot. You're basically guaranteeing more of the contract so you can free up space. That's what Andrew Brandt refers to as cash over cap. You're trading cash for more cap space is essentially what you're doing. So, all right, back to the edge defenders here. Strengths, James Pierce Jr., his strengths are speed rusher, devastating first step. So there's your speed rusher of this draft, right? That's what he does, and he does it well. I think he's coming in at like 248 pounds, something like that is the most recent reports. Greg Cosell said, when you see this dude, he looks like a safety. He said if he develops a power move, if he develops power within his pass rush, he's going to be dominant. But that's the thing he's lacking. Shamar Stewart, power and size, versatility versus the run/pass. So he definitely looked good against the run. As we had mentioned, Texas A&M seemed to have really keyed in on stopping the run last year. Mike Green, explosive, physical, and well-rounded. Don't that sound like the highest floor that we just talked about? It doesn't mention he's a little bit undersized weight-wise, but it didn't mention that with James Pierce either. Mikel Williams, toolsy, strength, bend, and burst. Okay, that's another top 30 visit for the Packers. Nick Scorton, bull rush power, inside spin. So this is the guy that Greg Cosell really raved over. He's like, this guy is a pass rusher. He's got moves. He's got multiple moves. He can rush speed to power. He can rush power to speed. And he's got a really good inside spin move, according to this as well. Donovan Ezaraku, twitchy, refined moves, relentless. So there's another guy that you probably say, looking at the scouting report, a better pass rusher. And then Landon Jackson, run-stopping anchor, uses length. That's that dude that's got the big wingspan there. So go ahead, Jacob. What do you got?
Nothing. I'm just when Dwight Schrute was asked to describe himself in 3 words, he's like relentless, insatiable, jackhammer. That's just what That's just what I see when I see these descriptions here.
I've never heard Toolsy used before. That's a good one. Toolsy. I'm assuming that means
we got a couple that are Toolsy in the chat. No,
just a few.
Landon Jackson is an increasingly interesting prospect, especially if he were to fall into like the third or something like that. I mean, the guy he just looks scary. Like everything about him. He's quick. He's massive. He says run stopping anchor uses length. I mean, the guy, he seems like he's just a scary looking guy. It'd be great if we could maybe have him. He reminds me of more of like a Preston Smith type, where he's not necessarily going to wow you, but he's so long and powerful that he can absolutely take care of business to set that edge and possibly be a decent enough pass rusher. But we'll see.
Yeah, we got Landon Jackson in the 34 spot. And,
oh, wow.
Kyle Krabs had him at 23, but Dane Brugler had him at 45. So he's right in the middle of those two guys. So, yeah, he's probably going to be a second-round pick, I would imagine.
PFF's got him at 41 right now.
There you go.
Okay. Wow, okay.
That kind of checks out. All right, so, again, those are the strengths. Now, let's go to the weaknesses. James Pierce Jr. struggles versus the run. He's one-dimensional. We just kind of talked about that. Shamar Stewart, low production, lacks elite bend. Mike Green, past off-field concerns, not run dominance, what it says, even though he had like 22 or whatever it was tackles for a loss. I don't know what his run defense grade was. They may disagree, but again, this is just pulling from a multitude of scouting reports. Michael Williams, slow recognition, inconsistent snap timing. All right, so he seems kind of raw.
That, Jan.
Mike Green's run defense grade last year was a 90.2.
Got it.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and when you see the tackles for a loss as well, you would probably disagree with the weakness list here for him, no doubt. Nick Scorton, stiff hips, lacks top burst. Donovan Ezaraku, undersized, weaker versus the run. Landon Jackson, limited pass rush moves, average quickness is what it says. So, again, I don't like to focus on the weaknesses because that's not what coaches do. That's not what scouts do. They try to gear the information to what can this player do for our football team as opposed to what does he not do. You'll hear multiple coaching rants about that. Like everybody gets so damn hung up on what they can't do. Forget that. Throw it out the window. What can he do? How can we put him in a position to help our football team? And then that's how you rank them. Now, the pessimists in the world, they're going to try to find the negative and key in on it. And that's probably why some people look at this draft and go, it's a boring draft because they're focused on the weaknesses. You can't do that. That's not what coaches and GMs do. They don't sit around and go, all right, guys, let's put the list of weaknesses up for our top 250 prospects. Yep. They're going, what do they bring to the table? What's their upside? How do they project to the next level? This is what this player does well. Okay, is there a way that we could put him in a position to do that in our defense? If there isn't, then no, we don't need that guy. We need someone who's going to complement the players that are already on our roster, and you can't try to decide that by just focusing on the negative. That makes
Especially
sense.
When you look at some of these weaknesses being things that you can't control, right? Like undersized. Okay, well, I'm sorry. This is my body. What am I supposed to do about that? And then the other half of the list is things that can be coached up and out and worked on. Mm-hmm. Look at Michael Williams. I don't like that he's got slow recognition or inconsistent snap timing. Get his ass on the practice field and work on it. Get that dummy ball out and work on the snaps. You can coach that up. Things like one-dimensional James Pierce Jr., right? Struggles against the run. Okay, well, then you have a run-heavy focus with him and take that approach and try and add that attribute to his game. But, if you've got average quickness like Landon Jackson, I don't know how you can't teach quickness.
Right.
You either have it or you don't. So I think it's important that you're right. You avert your attention to the things they do well and try and put them in a position to utilize those traits and not get focused on the weaknesses.
Yeah, just real quick, James Pierce Jr. also this last year had a run defense grade of 84.1. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. And again, man, you guys know how I feel about PFF. I think it's a great tool, but until they show me here's the guy. Here's the play. Like if they showed individual play grades, I would be a lot higher on it. But where it's just this kind of vague, we know it happens at the NFL level with PFF. That sometimes you get the grade and you're like, that does not match the tape at all. Like that happens from time to time. Imagine how much it happens when you've got college 400 college teams that they're trying to watch, right? So, Yeah, which is funny because sometimes I check on my local ETSU Buccaneers to see what their PFF grades are, and they don't even watch them. They're like, Bub, nah, we ain't sending nobody out there. You kidding me? So, all right. So moving on to NFL comparisons. These are just comps. It doesn't mean they're the only comps. These are just some of them. Okay. James Pierce Jr., Brian Burns. You guys remember edge defender that Carolina drafted, pretty good football player. Shamar Stewart's is Jadeveon Clowney. Don't like that. Don't like it. And he played in the league for a while. He may still be in the league, but he never lived up to that hype. If let's be honest, if he hadn't knocked that South Carolina, or no, was it South Carolina? No, it was Michigan. If he hadn't knocked that Michigan player's helmet off in that game, he probably wouldn't have went in the top 5. That was just the ultimate highlight reel. Mike Green is Leonard Floyd. Michael Williams is Daniil Hunter. That's not a bad comp right there. That'd be all right. Nick Scorton's Zadarius Smith.
Oh, I'm out on Scorton now.
Now, this is strictly physical tools, Tim. They're not saying that Nick Scorton wants to be a captain as a rookie, okay? That's not what they're saying.
Does he want to play for a new team every season?
Donovan Ezeraku, Hashan Reddick, and then Landon Jackson, Max Crosby.
Max Crosby.
There you go, boys. You're finally getting your Max Crosby. We're getting it.
I knew they were going to do it, guys.
All right. Moving on to draft stock. We'll get ready to wrap.
The meatloaf. We want it now.
Here's the draft stock, okay? And this is what it was projected a couple of days ago, just looking at what I went through and combed through the latest consensus mock drafts, okay? James Pierce is typically going anywhere from 10 to 30 in this draft, okay? So I know it's a wide range, but some people see him as a top 10 talent. Other people see it as he should fall out of the first. Shamar Stewart, top 10 to 25, so a little bit higher consistency than James Pierce Jr. Mike Green, 10 to 30 as well, so right there with James Pierce Jr. Michael Williams, 10 to 25, same as Shamar Stewart. Nick Scorton is 20 to 35 typically. All right, and these are, just overall picks, the 20th pick to the 35th pick. Donovan Ezeraku, a late first to second rounder, and Landon Jackson, late first to second rounder as well. So when you look at that, the Packers are probably going to have a few of these guys to choose from, as opposed to like Jahdae Barron or maybe like a Will Johnson or even like one of the top tackles or maybe a couple of the top receivers. You're probably going to have a pretty good group to pick from here at edge in the first round if you decide to go that route.
What, Tim, I'm sure you know this. Why every time I hear Landon Jackson, I hear Keith Jackson, and then I hear Brett Favre going, Mama says, give me some flapjacks.
Just the other morning, I had breakfast at Tracy Rucker's house. His mama brought out 15 flapjacks. He said, Mama, take back 5 of them flapjacks. I got to say, hungry
for the Crimson Tide.
I got some advice for y'all. Take 2 weeks off, then quit.
We got to get I got to stay hungry for the Crimson Tide. We just need that one, though.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you guys want to hit on here in terms of draft stock before we get ready to wrap this thing up?
No, I think we covered a lot.
All right. There you go. So here's the quick comparison summary. Sometimes these don't match up with some of the statistics we've seen earlier. You guys, like I said, do your own research. Best speed rusher.
Oh, Nelly, look at them tats.
That was close, Tim. That was close. You got us canceled, sir.
Oh, yeah, tattoos. That's what we're talking about, right?
God, I love what we do. All right, best speed rusher, James Pierce Jr. All right, 4.47 40 with 7.5 sacks. And Donovan Ezeraku considered a speed rusher as well. 16.5 sacks, 34-inch arms. Best power rusher, Shamar Stewart, 267 pounds at the combine, 999 RAS, along with Nick Scorton, 6'2", 257, but had 14 tackles for a loss. Best run defender, Mike Green, is what they're saying here. 6'3", 251, 22.5 tackles for a loss. And Nick Scorton also on that list, 14 tackles for a loss. So you're seeing Scorton often, aren't you? Already two of the top 3 he's mentioned. Most versatile, Mike Green, with the 17 sacks and the 22.5 tackles for a loss, as well as Michael Williams with the 4.73 40. So they mentioned him. Highest ceiling, Shamar Stewart. I don't think there's any argument there. That dude's an athletic freak. If he hits, it's gonna be a home run. It says combine a 9.9 RAS. James Pierce Jr. as well with the highest ceiling, 4.47 40-yard speed. But that you can't coach that. You can't get a guy to run faster, right? You can't get a guy to be quicker twitch. Again, like Greg Cosell said, if he develops power in his game, you're going to look up in 10 years and go, damn, James Pierce Jr. was a monster. If you put 10 pounds on him and he develops a couple power moves, watch out. And then highest floor is Mike Green with the elite production we talked about, as well as Nick Scorton, consistent tackles for a loss. The two that stick out to me the most on this list after doing this exercise is Nick Scorton and Mike Green. Those are the ones I would feel the best about. Again, what was Scorton? Does it mention Scorton's size? Just real quick, and we'll come right back down to it because I just want to see, does he meet the profile?
6'4", 285 is what
he'd have to put on about 5 pounds. Well, no, he's not tall. Well, that's the thing too. Though some people will say he's not tall enough at 6'2", but Clay Matthews was 6'2". So just keep that in mind.
He's only 20 and a half years old as well.
Ooh, that'll boost him up the Goody board. So there you go. We pretty much covered all the stats multiple times. It just does a quick analysis of everything. So basically, sack leader ended up being Mike Green. The run stopper, Mike Green. Balanced, James Pierce Jr. And then projects would be Shamar Stewart. That's the guy that's got probably the highest upside. So there you go. There is your edge defender breakdown. Now we got about 20 minutes. We could go a multitude of directions here, gang. We've got the offensive tackles ready to go. What'd you say? What was that? Did you just say a mock draft?
I didn't say that. I coughed. It's weird that you heard mock draft.
I heard you say it. We all heard you say it.
We got 20 minutes. Let's do a mock draft.
Let's go.
What are we doing, boys? Do you want to do consensus big board or mock draft database, or you want to do PFF?
Let's ask the chat. Come on, chat.
Mock draft. Which would you rather use, PFF site, or would you rather use the consensus big board site? I like the mock draft database consensus big board site the best because they're constantly shuffling in real time. And I feel like, yeah, there you go. Drew D mock draft database. All right, let's do it. He got the first one in. So that's
Drew made the call. Let's do it.
Drew made the call. Looking forward to hanging out with Drew at the draft, man.
Do we want to put any sort of stipulations on this draft? Any sort of criteria? Any situations? Or are we just doing it?
We just
I think no trades, and let's try to come together. At least two of the three agree on a pick. Is that cool?
All right, Dan.
All right, let me get it.
Get ready to go.
Oh, Tim.
Hit it, Tim. Just because Jacob said not to. Hit it for me.
Get ready to go.
There you go. All right.
Love how Tim can find one clip that he knows just sticks in my craw and he just mashes it.
Over. It was 65% for the longest time, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then it was ready or here we go.
Oh man, I forgot about Dak. Yeah, we might have to bring that back.
You gotta bring that back. I'm glad you brought that. Get that one back in there. All right, here we go, guys. 7-round mock draft. Obviously using the Packers. Let's hit it. I'm gonna go with turbo speed here. We got 20 minutes. 20 minutes. All right, no trades. Sorry, sir. We're not even entertaining it.
Looky there.
We got
the guy
to choose from. This is going to be interesting. Let me put my draft board in another window so I can see it here. And I'm going to try to read this stuff off to you guys as we go. So for those of you listening on the pod, the best available are cornerback Jahdae Barron. We got Matthew Golden in the 20 spot. We got safety Malachi Starks at 21, Kenneth Grant at 22, Josh Simmons at 25, Tyler Booker at 26, Walter Nolan sitting down there at 28, as well as Derek Harmon. This is the problem we got. Here's what I've noticed, Tim. We find ourselves here in the first round, and the best player available is typically like a Jahdae Barron or a wide receiver, something like that, right? It's a little higher. And then when we don't pick a 3-tech, we end up missing out on the top of the 3-tech market because they're gone by the time we get back to 54. And this is something that the Packers are really going to have to think about. So based off of what we got here, guys, what do you think your pick would be? And I've got the board ready if you want to rapid fire them off. Anybody you want to ask about here that you need to know where they're at. Like Jahdae Barron, we got in the 15 spot. Okay. Then we've got Matthew Golden in the 36 spot currently is where he's at. Malachi Starks is in the 24 spot. Kenneth Grant is in the 13 spot.
I was going to say Kenneth Grant.
Yeah.
Josh Simmons is in the 23 spot. Tyler Booker, we could care less. Walter Nolan is going to be an interesting one. Walter Nolan is sitting in the 18 spot. So he's below Kenneth Grant on our board, even though Greg Cosell hands down says Walter Nolan's the best in the draft. And then Derek Harmon is significantly lower at 29 on our board. So Emeka Egbuka's in the 19 spot. He doesn't make sense here. Luther Burden is in the 26th spot. He doesn't make here. And there's Maxwell Harrison. You guys know he's way lower on our board. Josh Connerly, a little bit lower. Kenneth Grant's hands down the best player available right now, according to our board.
Can you look at edge real quick? Who's the highest available edge right now?
Nick Scorton, Landon Jackson, Jack Sawyer, JT Tuamaloa, and then Princely, your boy Princely there. So, like Nick Scorton, let's see if we can make a case for Nick Scorton. He's in the 32 spot. That's a hell of a reach, right?
Yep.
Landon Jackson's in the 34 spot. That's a reach. This is why we keep talking about potentially trading back, right?
I think I'm thinking Kenneth Grant, or I'm thinking the pick is it's either Grant or my God, why am I drawing a blank?
Barron.
Ole Miss.
Nolan.
Walter Nolan. It's Walter Nolan or Kenneth Grant would be my pick here.
I think I agree with Tim. You got to go Grant, especially with the loss of TJ Slayton. That just to me makes more sense. That you got a plug and play guy like Grant that can go be an absolute stuffer in the middle there, revamp that offense or defensive line. And it stinks too, because if I actually had my choice right now, I would I'd trade back 100%. Right. I'd trade back. Same. There's 10 guys in the next 10 picks that I absolutely would love. You can even go as far down as Gray Zabel and farther, not to mention guys like Nolan and Harmon and Jade, obviously. So
yeah, for me, it's hands down, it comes down to between Kenneth Grant and Jahdae Barron. Kenneth Grant is in the 13th spot for us. Jahdae Barron's in the 15th spot. So here's how I would approach it. I would say if Ja's on the roster, take Kenneth Grant. If Ja isn't, go Jahdae Barron is probably what I would do. That's even though Kenneth Grant is the better prospect, they're in the same tier. Kenneth Grant's score is a 15.7. Jahdae Barron's a 17.7. So they're in that range of 15 to 19.9. All right.
Well, as we speak right now, Jair is still on this team.
That's true. That's a good point.
It is. But last time, Tim, we did not get a 3-tech when we did this, and we went with Jahdae Barron. So
I remember that.
Yeah,
let's go Grant.
Yeah, we got to make our pick. I'm gonna say Grant because, like you said, Tim, he is still on the roster. So.
Yep. Kenneth Grant run the cod.
All right, we're going Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle out of Michigan. Mentioning Greg Cosell said that Kenneth Grant is a big boy, but the way he moves, he can play 3-tech, is what he said. So I like what SDM40 says there. D-tackle ain't flashy, but might be the smartest choice there. So now you got the guy in place to potentially take over for Kenny Clark next year, right? And you bolster your interior pass rush a bit. So
up next, we have the whole team of Ohio State.
Man, I'm telling you, they're like Ole Miss, dude. They put together a hell of a class here.
I see Ezra Thomas hanging up there at the top of the list.
To me, it's either Ezra or Jack Sawyer.
Yeah.
So we got Ezra Thomas, cornerback out of Florida State, Travion Henderson, running back out of Ohio State, Quinshawn Judkins, running back out of Ohio State, Jack Sawyer, edge defender out of Ohio State, and Tyleik Williams, defensive tackle out of Ohio State. Here's what's crazy. If we knew Tyleik was going to be there, we would have probably went Jahdae Barron. But this didn't happen last time. That's the beautiful thing about it. We got Tyleik in the 35 spot. Jack Sawyer, where do we have Jack Sawyer at? He's a little bit lower. We got Jack Sawyer in the 45 spot. Azare Thomas, cornerback out of Florida State.
I think he's a little lower.
Yeah, we have him significantly lower, don't we? We have Azare Thomas. Whoa, he's way down here. Yeah, we have him in the 75 spot. So this is tough, gents. If we could go back a pick and redo that, Jahdae Barron and Tyleik Williams would be the grouping. Tim, they got us again, damn it. They got us again, bro. Every time. We're trying to find that perfect draft, and it just keeps evading us.
So
you guys see that, don't you? We got Shaden Higgins is available out of Iowa State, wide receiver. You got Carson Schweisinger. You've got Alfred Collins out of Texas at defensive tackle.
Well, you guys know who my pick is. So
yeah, Tim's going Jaden Higgins, right?
I would say either Higgins or one of the two Ohio State edges.
Okay. So you go, potentially edge.
JT.
Yeah, so
I like both of them.
Yeah, let me see where JT's on our board because I want to say he's a little bit higher. He's in the 42 spot. JT is. Jaden Higgins is in the 47 spot. All right. And so basically what it comes down to is JT is one tier higher than Jaden Higgins. So we'd be reaching for Jaden Higgins, but we know wide receiver is going to drop off, right? And do we truly need an edge? What we just talked about, right? We just talked about the fact that
got a good rotation.
Yeah, we already got a pretty heavy rotation of edge defenders based off what we're doing. So that's what it comes down to your Higgins. What is it?
I'm Team Jaden.
All right, so you're going Higgins. Tim, you're going Higgins too, right, bro?
The best guy around.
That's all we needed to know. All right, we're going Jaden Higgins with the 54th pick.
Oh, look at that. Another A. Straight A's. They call me Ace.
Yeah, and Prince makes a good
Buzz.
Prince makes a good point, man. You probably get another edge later for sure. So
ooh.
Here we go. Now we're getting into the nitty-gritty.
Damn, look at this grouping here.
Yeah, read that grouping off,
right?
Read that grouping off and check them real quick. You don't care.
Well, 67, Mr. Cameron Scadaboo, which I know makes no sense, but I'd honestly be pumped if we got the guy. He's
63 on our board.
He looks to me like Mike Allstott reincarnate. Obviously, then we got Wyatt Malum. I'm very high on Wyatt Malum. Absolutely
58 on our board.
That's very versatile. I think he could be either a plug-and-play guard or tackle. And then there's Tim's favorite tight end, Mr. Harold Bannon Jr., and then another guy that we very much like. Why not just bring the band back together, getting another Iowa State receiver, Mr. Jalen Noel at the 75 spot, and then honestly 76, another guy that's a little bit, I think, flying below the radar is Demetrius Knight, linebacker out of South Carolina.
Yeah, Demetrius Knight. He's interesting because I actually listened to Greg Cosell talk about him yesterday. He said he made it sound, he didn't come out and say it, but he made it sound as if Demetrius Knight's the best linebacker in this draft. I think he said he's just undersized, if I remember correctly. But we gave him a 7-point Greg Cosell bonus. He's in the 72 spot. So based off what we got here, what's on the screen, I think Wyatt Malum would be the pick based off our board. We've got him in the 58 spot. So if we're not going to go offensive line, what position do you think we need to key in on, guys? We still haven't gotten a corner, have we?
No, I would say take a glance at corner. Otherwise, I'm grabbing Wyatt Malum here with this pick. Get another A up on the board.
I think we go Wyatt Malum and come back and either grab Quincy Zai or Noel.
Yeah. Let's see here. Burke, Denzel Burke. Let's see what we got him. I want to say he's lower. He's way lower. Quincy Riley.
Noel Williams might be a good pick next round, like Jacob's saying.
Yeah. That's what I was trying to look at here. Noel Williams, we got in the 174 spots. That's be a little bit of a reach. What do we got? We got Zy Alexander in the 95 spot.
Okay.
So it's going to be close.
Go corner in the 4th round is what you're saying.
If he's there, yeah. We pick 124th. He's 125th. So I don't mean he won't be taken. But, yeah, I think that would be the way to go here because we got Jacob Parrish significantly lower, I want to say. Jacob Parrish is, 132. So
Wyatt Malum, you are a Green Bay Packer.
That's what I was thinking. Fidel said another crazy stat was he was one of those guys that never allowed a sack in the last 3 years, playing at a pretty good school there. So
help me out here, guys. Remember 58. That's Wyatt Malum's spot. Okay. And I'm going to go through the interiors here.
Oh, Charles
Grant, 69th.
I don't feel like he's going to be an interior, though. I think that guy's a true tackle.
Yeah, and there's some that are mixed up. And you'll see in some of the articles we write, I mentioned, like, hey, some of these guys are projected as guards. They're going to be – or projected as tackles. They're going to be guards. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on. So far, he's running away with it. I think it's Wyatt Malum is our pick here.
I like that pick.
Jackson Slater. Yeah, we're going Wyatt Malum here. Offensive tackle. So out of West Virginia.
Look at that, an A+.
Is that good? Does that mean high score?
High score.
Did I break the game? All right. Now, we said we were going to come back and try to get – what are you oohing about? Talk to me here.
I really like Chris Paul Jr. Yeah.
Undersized, but Greg Cosell was the same way. He was like, this dude's tape is off the charts. We got him in the 98 spot.
He is a little undersized, though, isn't he?
Yeah.
Can you scroll a bit there?
Zy Alexander is gone.
Noel Williams.
Edge. Let's pull up Edge.
God, we have got no corners. This is wild, man.
I like David Walker.
Savion Jones, Jared Ivey, David Walker. I want to say David Walker was real high on our board. He's a smaller school, though. Let's see where Jared Ivey is.
He graded out unbelievably well.
Jared Ivey, we've gotten the 50 spot.
Wow. See, I'm a big Jared Ivey guy.
That's crazy.
We
That would have to be the pick. I mean, Tim, we screwed the pooch corner by not going Jahdae Barron, didn't we, man? That's
true, but then we also wouldn't have Kenneth Grant.
Right, but we would have Tyleek Williams, but then we wouldn't have Jaden Higgins, right?
Right. What who's the best available according to their board right now? Like if you take corner off and just went all look at that. No, I'm just saying, I'm putting my Goody hat on. Bro, you're telling me we're sitting here at 124 and Tyler Shough is on the board. I'm just saying.
Don't do that.
Bro.
Don't do that.
I'm not going to do it. I refuse to do it. But Greg Cosell said he's the second best quarterback in this draft.
What?
Only behind Cam Ward. He's better than
saying.
He's got that size too. Just real quick, just to throw another wrench in the spokes here. David Walker's grades the last 3 years, playing over 500 snaps at least in every single 92.9 in 2022. 2023 took a small step back at 88.6. This last year played 731 snaps with a 94.6 grade. He was the number one edge defender out of 869.
There you go.
Sire.
So again, those Central Arkansas, right? That's the only problem. If he played for Alabama, we'd be all over that pick. Of course, he'd probably go in the first round, to be honest with you. So what did we come up with? We were talking a little Shough. What was the
Jared Ivey was the top.
Yeah, Jared Ivey was the one that really makes
me need a corner though. Bad.
I'd either want Ivey or Noel Williams in this pick.
Me too. My question is, does Noel Williams make it to 159?
Yeah, no, because didn't he had a ton of interceptions. What's crazy is we've got him in the 174 spot, man. And he balled out at the Senior Bowl. Balled out.
I'm wondering if he would be there. Like if we took an edge here or something.
Yeah, it's just the value is so dang good.
He had 7 picks last year. That's pretty darn good. Coach Lynn says Ivy. I'm kind of leaning towards Ivy, to be honest.
It's not even close for me. It would have to be Ivy, but I understand Tim's frustration. Like, boys, now we did say, Tim, we're assuming Jair's going to be on the roster, didn't we? We said that because that's why we didn't take Jahdae Barron, right?
True.
So you feel a little bit better about the cornerback room. You went and got Nate Hobbs. Jair's back. Nate Hobbs, Keyshawn Nixon, Carrington Valentine. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay with that. You get a late round corner. If Ja's on the roster, I think we just all come into grips with Ja ain't going to be on the roster, right? That's probably what's going to happen. So anybody opposed to Jared Ivey here?
Dude, Jared Ivey, 90.6 grade last year. He had one of his 2 best games were against Georgia. He had a 91.4 grade against Georgia. Let's go.
Yeah, and we got to get at least one player from Ole Miss in this draft.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, Jared Ivey is in the 50 spot for us on our board. Daniel Jeremiah had him at 50. Kyle Krabs had him at 49. And like you said, Jacob, PFF grading 24. He's the 16th best at his position.
Run that cod.
Jared Ivey, edge defender out of Ole Miss.
It's an A.
Now, back
for
to
the love of God, get me a corner.
Look at that. Quincy, baby. Let's go, Quincy.
Let's see if that makes some sense now. So those guys are still there for sure. Quincy Riley, we've gotten the 215 spot.
Nice. All right, Dan.
Za Frazier. Yeah, 364, but he has no information.
Dang.
None at all.
Is Noel Williams still up there?
Can we just look at the corners specifically and see what we got there? Mello. O'Donnell. Hey, we got life, Tim. We got life.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, there's a couple. That's who you're going to end up with, right? In the next few picks, right? Like an O'Donnell Fortune or where's Kobe? Is Kobe still up there? Kobe Bryant?
We got Mello at 183. We got Fortune at 260 or 254. So right now, Mello's the best on our board. Longer Beam is 353. It's getting ugly, boys. Ventrell Cypress. What is
Ventrell?
Yeah, he's way lower. Yeah, we're at the bottom of the barrel, man.
So you're almost better, quote unquote, reaching a little bit right now if you want to grab someone.
Jermari Harris, 139. So that ain't bad for where we're picking.
I haven't even heard of him, to be honest.
Never heard of her. That would be the one other than, what did I say, Mello? So
Noel's still there.
Yeah, but we have him lower on our board.
Yeah. Hands down, Jamari Harris is the best on our board. We don't have to take him. I'm just saying, like, he's hands down, and we'll get a horrible grade for taking him right here.
The reason I like Williams so much is just he's a straight up man to man type corner, and I feel like that would kind of round out, some versatility in the cornerback room, having a straight up, man to man type of corner kind of mixed in.
And if we go all, does anybody pop off the screen here from another position? Just take a quick look. Elijah Roberts. Yeah, we already got. Actually, he's another defensive lineman. Yeah, this is tough, man. We're kind of in no man's land right now. We really are.
Chase Lunt, Kobe King, Nick Nash, Luke Kandra, Pat Bryant. Hey.
Pat Bryant is set to go 178. We got Pat Bryant at 127. So yeah, for us, sure, if we're going to go corner and none of these other positions are really popping, right, it would definitely be Jamari Harris according to our board. But if you guys want to go Noah Williams, say you can outvote me. You know what I'm saying? So is that what we're thinking?
Are we convinced going corner here? Like who's best available overall?
That's what we're just looking at. Yeah. It's booty cheeks. I mean, we do need a linebacker. Well,
I like Stutzman, to be honest, but
Stutzman's 94th on our board, boys.
Is he really?
Well, that's extremely high value then at 159.
He's all the way up at 91. Yeah, that would hands down be the best pick here. If we have to go corner, it'd be Jamari, and we could get him later, right? So let's say we go. Let's just kind of spitball this here. Let's say we go Danny Stutson here, and let's see if we can get Jamari. What was his name? Jamari
Harris. He's up. He scroll up right there.
Where?
Scroll down a little bit.
Okay, gotcha. So 226. So we can get him with 198. So let's go Stutzman here. Y'all good with that?
Yes.
All right. So we're going to go Danny Stutzman with this pick, and then we'll come back and get Jamari.
Get us 4.0 GPA so far. I love it.
Yeah, first time that's ever happened in my life.
Me too, brother.
Me too. All right. So now we're going to come back and get Jamari Harris. Anybody opposed to that? Because he's going to be gone at 237 for sure.
I love O'Donnell Fortune, but yeah.
Yeah, explain that to me, because it seems like every time we have this conversation, I'm much lower on him. What is it? Is it the 24 PFF grade? Is that what it is, Jacob?
That's got to be realistically, yeah. I mean, it's but he's also in 2022 when he played 9 games, he was a 78.8. He's a coverage grade of 90.2, man coverage grade of 79.5, a zone coverage grade of 87.5. Played predominantly outside corner. Didn't get a ton of production, but I mean, just consistently throughout his college career, passer rating against him was 77.1, 65.2, 61.4, and he played a lot of snaps. This last year, he played over 700 snaps, played 13 games. I don't know. He seems like a type of player. He's 6'1", 185, according to PFF. He is most mocked to the Eagles, second to the Packers.
Gotcha. And here's why he's so much lower on our board. In 2022, his PFF rating was 91st at his position. Not bad. He dropped all the way to 456th in 23. Yeah. But in 24, he climbs all the way back to 18. PFF Big Board had him at 145, and the consensus Big Board had him at 352. So I'm glad we did this mock. Here's one of those players we talked about. Currently, O'Donnell Fortune is 207 on the consensus Big Board. On our board, we got him at 352. That changes significantly. Should we put the new number in or keep the 352 that he was at the end of the year? I'm good either way. I'm going to let you two decide that.
I just would like to see what would happen if you plug in the new information, just see where he falls.
See where he jump up to? Let me see. O'Donnell Fortune's in the 207 spot right now. So if we change that, he's currently, remember this number for me, Tim, 254. Okay? Remember 254.
Yes.
So he's currently 254. And we're going to jump him to 207 there. Bang. That changes his grade significantly. Now, all of a sudden, O'Donnell Fortune is in the 170-ish spot.
Which would put him as a great pick at 198. But then again, like you said, is this what we want to do, or do we want to stick with what we already had?
All right. It's tough, man. What if we met in the middle? What if we met in the middle on that? You know what I mean? Rather than 207 or what I had in before, the 3. I don't even remember what I had now. That's great. I already forgot that. I told you to remember the number.
254.
254.
All right. We're going to do 254 for his number. All right. That puts him in the 139 grade category. So that puts him somewhere around 200 now, which is around his stats. That seems pretty fair. We'll leave that alone then. All right. So we'll just leave it right there. So we're going to go O'Donnell Fortune here. We talked ourselves into it, Jacob. That's how this rolls.
Just real quick, because I had not heard a lot about Jamari Harris. He, according to Draft Buzz, because PFF did not have a lot on him, he's 6 foot, 191, senior. His 40 time was a 4.56. Not obviously I can't run that. Arm length 31 3/8. Decent height, decent vert at 37. I don't understand him being so high up on the board. But
here's why he's higher on our board. In 2022, his grade was 224th. He dropped to 367, then he jumped all the way to 35th in 2024. Okay, and the consensus big board had him at 174 at the end of the year. That's why he's so high on our board. And he's probably dropped, seeing that they got him as a 226 here. Let's see where he's at. Yeah, he's sitting in the 226 spot on the current consensus big board. So no more football had been played, right? And since the end of the season, with no more football being played, Jamari Harris has dropped on the consensus big board from 226 all the way down to 174. So that's kind of those two ships passing in the night that we talked about, right?
Yep.
Just
real quick, confirming Noel Williams is off the board now. Did he get picked?
Yes, sir. He's gone.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so we've got it narrowed down between two. It's either going to be Jamari Harris or O'Donnell Fortune. What do we want here, boys? Talk to me.
I'm gonna go with Jacob on this one.
O'Donnell Fortune?
O'Donnell Fortune, the kid out of South Carolina.
Gotcha. And according to the consensus, the mock draft database here, it's not a horrible reach, right? You're going from 198. You're reaching the 207th prospect at pick 198, right? So like if you were to go all, like they're saying, you could get pick 150 right now, or Pegues too, right?
Yeah.
Which this show has went over already. My wife's
let's do O'Donnell Fortune. Put him out there. South Kakalaki. Let's go.
Yeah, let's just do it. Let's get it done here for my marriage sake. Right?
I'll get a B+. Not bad. Not bad, Buzz. Good work.
All right. So now it's going to be pick 237. Pick 237.
Boy, Jason
Marshall. Don't you dare.
We got our linebacker. We're good there, right? We got our 3-tech. We're good there. We got us some wide receiver. We got an offensive tackle. We got an edge. We got a corner. What do we want to see here, boys?
Riley Leonard.
What is it?
Riley Leonard.
I like Clay Webb.
Listen, I like Riley Leonard, but he couldn't hit a bull in the ass with a mop.
I'm just joking.
Now, he's got grit. He'll run with it.
What about Clay Webb? Where you got him, Clay?
It's funny. We actually just did a write-up on him. He's a part of our interior offensive lineman article that's going to be – it's actually already live for those of you on the Patreon group.
Boy, he graded out real –
you ain't ready for this
one. Are we just going to glance over the tight end from Iowa?
Oh, Nick Lachey. Luke.
No, it's his brother Luke. But where do we have him on our board?
I'll tell you where we got Clay Webb. We got Clay Webb at 116.
Okay,
well, we definitely don't have Luke Lachey yet.
Clay Webb last 3 years playing over 500. He almost played 1,000 snaps last year. Had an 82 flat grade. He was ranked 10th out of 639 guards the year before. He played almost 900 snaps. Had an 87.4, ranked 3rd out of 635 guards. 2022 played over 550 snaps with an 80 grade, the 13th ranked guard. Granted, it's at Jacksonville State, but the dude is an absolute. He's allowed 3 sacks. 1 sack per year. He's played almost exclusively at left guard. He did play one snap at left tackle in 2022, but I'm totally on board with this guy. Smaller school, but dominated.
Just a little preview of our interior offensive lineman breakdown we're going to do. Clay Webb dominated at Jacksonville State, earning accolades as a top FCS guard. His athleticism and nasty streak gives him a chance to stick in the NFL, though his level of competition raises questions. Webb's mid-round projection reflects his potential as a depth player who could compete for a starting role. His RAS card, by the way, 9.20.
Put him on the board.
Draft him.
That's the one, ain't it?
That's the one. I mean, the only O-line we grabbed was Malum, right? So this would be good. This would be a good pick here. Yep. Oh,
A
look
plus.
at that. Now you just draft a Rondé Gatson.
Rondé Gatson. Let's go, dude. Give me the flowers. Let's all go have a. That's good.
Yeah, that's best available. You got Jalen Lane. You got Jaquavius Marks, Khalil Mullings.
It's a Key and Peele sketch right there.
Nick Martin. Yeah,
Gatson.
I would be on board with Rondé Gatson. Let me double check the board. I'm pretty sure we got him fairly high. Gatson.
Drew D says, do you think we'd take 2 pure guards? We didn't take 2 pure guards. You got 1 guard and Wyatt Malone is, I believe, a true tackle.
And even if we did, we'd be turning one of them into a tackle anyway.
That's the, you know how it is.
Yep.
Like, I don't see Wyatt Malone as a slam dunk offensive tackle, to be honest with you. I think they could kick him inside is probably what they'd roll. But when you look at the interior, I mean, look at offensive tackle. I'm telling you, man, the more time goes by, I have a feeling that Jordan Morgan's going to end up being left tackle when it's all said and done. Not this year, but in the future. So something to think about. I see what you're saying there. If someone sees Wyatt Malone, Drew, as a guard, I understand what you're talking about there in terms of the measurables, but I'm just so sick of worrying about an inch or two on arm length and watching us get our ass kicked by the Eagles in the trenches. Like, this is Clay Webb, nasty streak. Makes a lot of sense. Like, let's get him in there. Let's send in a goon. But yeah, Rondé Gatson, to round this thing out, he's the 99th best prospect on our board.
Let's go.
Let's go,
dude. Boom. Look at this one. Here's a draft.
Jacob
I really like this draft now.
It's
back this over to Goody.
Can we
again? Yeah, get on the phone, Tim. Get Goody on the line.
I'll get it taken care of.
Can we save this one? Can we reference back to this one?
Yeah, we'll definitely save it.
One of my favorites.
Frame it.
Yeah. The issue, people are going to see this and go, "Where's corner early?" This is assuming Jair's on the roster. We talked about that early on, so please don't roast us too bad. All right, that's what we were thinking here. Now, do I think Jair is going to be on the roster? No, but that's how we work this draft. So there you go. We got it saved. If I can delete another screen grab, let's go. Yeah, let's delete that one. I'm going to throw it in. You guys remind me, Jacob, if we get to the show tonight, Tim, if we get in here and go, man, I'd like to see that one we did earlier, we'll have it in the screen grab. It's going to be at the top of the list here. Okay. So we've got it saved now. So again, just a quick recap. We got to wrap up. My wife has probably packed her bags or packed mine, I would imagine. Kenneth Grant at 23, Jaden Higgins at 54. We went Wyatt Malone out of West Virginia at 87. Jared Ivey out of Ole Miss at 124. That's crazy value.
Yeah.
Danny Stutzman at 159, linebacker out of Oklahoma. O'Donnell Fortune, cornerback out of South Carolina at 198. Clay Webb, interior offensive lineman out of Jacksonville State at 237. And Rondé Gatson, the second, tight end out of Syracuse at 250. That is your marker. So
I love it.
Right. That's going to do it, guys. Again, you got all the information that we were talking about and referencing here in the Patreon group. Go join. We're doing a giveaway tonight. Everyone who is a member in the Patreon group. I'm going to say this right now. I usually don't do this. I will have time to get the latest update. So if you want to enter yourself into the contest to win the autographed Mason Crosby card with the little jersey patch on it as well, make sure you're a member of at least the $3 tier on our Patreon group as soon as possible, because when I get back home, we're going to go run some errands. When I get back home, I'm going to compile the list of all the data, and everyone who's a member of the $3 tier of Patreon, as well as a YouTube member, are going to go on the Larry McCarron Pinky Wheel. We're going to give that card away tonight. So just want to mention that. And again, you have access to all the other information. Jacob, Tim, thank y'all for your time. We'll see y'all tonight, 7 p.m. Central. Everybody have a great day.
And we go.
We're out. Bye, guys.